Hey, welcome back. This is Clay Nelson, Clay Nelson Life Counselor, and we're talking about the land of confusion and how most people live in it right now, and respectfully, justifiably so. I mean, gosh, the Commerce Show on the station last week was all about what should I do and what if I do this, and there's no sure answer. I've got about 75 or 80 clients going in the construction industry that are just barely hanging on by their fingernails, and they can't figure out what to do. They don't know what to commit to. They don't know where the world's going to go. They don't know what the economy's going to do. All they know is that plywood keeps getting cheaper and sheetrock keeps getting cheaper, but nobody's buying a house, so there's no place to put the plywood or the sheetrock. So it's a giant, big mess, okay? And today's show is all about getting yourself straight. I mean, you've got an election that you got to be a part of. And then you got some accountability that you got to be a part of. And you got to be responsible for that accountability for after you put people in office. And you got to learn to take care of yourself so you can be energized as someone that's over 35 or 40 or 45, or in my case, 65 years old. And you got to be willing to take on the world and bite the head off of it if you need to. You got to be able to fight and get out there and do it and do the dance, be unstoppable. All right? So you got to have the energy. You got to be able to live from your life's experiences. You got to be able to move forward, and you got to be able to teach, because that's all we got left at this age. You can't be stopped. So I said when I got back I was going to talk about giving up being a control monster, but I got to tell you, I got an email. You want to read the email? This is, the fourth one down says, my teenage daughter.
Yeah, okay. So anyways, my teenage daughter is in a confused, upset place right now with regard to relationship or crush that she has.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice on how to help her see that her life isn't over, even though the relationship is?
Yeah, the reason why, when I saw this email come in, I went, this is a really good example of what's going on in our lives. Our relationship with the stock market, our relationship with 8 years of the last presidency, our relationship with our finances, our relationship with everything. It's changed. But we don't have to die because of it. We just need to learn to dance in a different way. So my advice to her is take a deep breath, get with your friends, don't be stopped, don't go in your bedroom and shut the door, don't go in your head and try to think your way through it, exercise your way through it, get out and be with people, get out and keep the blood flowing, eat good food, exercise, do that kind of stuff, okay? So that's my advice to her. And if she gets stopped, ask for help, ask for a hug, ask for somebody to listen, find someone to clear with, get rid of your stuff. It's like what I said earlier on the show. It's like you have to stop and think about what you really want. You have to be clear. You have to learn to really take care of you. And you have to give up controlling the issue. Like, oh, my gosh, I'm going to die because this guy isn't in my life. Or, oh, my gosh, I'm going to die because my stock portfolio is down 30%. Investment is long-term, not usually short-term. I mean, unless you're a short, a day trader or something, which I'm not. But all my investment is all about land, long-term investment, and stocks that are long-term sits. So it's all about, this is just a short downturn. This isn't really going to add up to much. There's going to be a lot of changes in how things are regulated, which it's been about time. And we're going to get a new president in there that hopefully is energized and can handle what the world has to give us. But you have to remember, America really is the balancing act for just about everything that goes on in the world. Everybody follows suit with what we do. So why don't we just be happy and positive? I mean, duh, give me a break. So you got to give up. As I said earlier, you got to give up being a control monster. Frequently, confusion gets us to a place where we're working and trying to control something that really isn't meant to be controlled. Relationship, the stock market, whatever. You got to have enough diversity in your life where you haven't got one thing, and if it fails, your life goes down the tube with it. It's much easier to learn something new when you aren't hooked by the way you think it ought to be or should have been. Can you hear that? Now, number 5 is you got to learn to ask for help. You can't, if you could get to where you're going, that is happy, wealthy, healthy, relationship working, being fully committed. If you could be that all the time by yourself, you'd already be there. It'd already be happening. And no one can, so you have to ask for help. And I'm not talking about therapy. I mean talking to somebody else about how you feel. I mean talking about somebody else and what do you think the stock market's going to do and so on and so forth. But it's all conjecture because it all boils down to is you can get all the input in the world you want, but it's you that has to make the decision on what you're going to do with the input. Can you hear that? You are the only person that has a say in how your life turns out. No one else does. You can get all the input, all the data, and everything else, but the decision you make is your decision. It's like when you go in that voting booth in another 2 weeks, you have to make some decisions, and you have to back it up with accountability. You have to know who to phone. You have to be responsible and make sure that the people that you put into office are people that are going to do what you want done. And if they don't, you got to stand up and scream and holler, bitch, and raise Cain until they do hear you. So you have to ask for help. And in this particular case, what's the phone number? How do we get a hold of these people? Let's go dance. All right? And last but not least, number 6 is you have to stay present to who you're being. Now, what do I mean by that? Okay, what's it mean to stay present by who you're being? How many of you out there are sitting around just kind of going, well, I don't really have a say. I'm tired of all this. I don't know if I can pay my rent. Geez, I don't know about gasoline prices. They're going down now. But what's going to change it 10 years from now? And what's going to happen to my kids? And what's going to happen to my grandkids? I mean, you get into this think state that you can't get out of, and it just stops it. So you have to stay in action. So staying in action is all about being able to get present to who you're being and what you're causing. How are you using your power? Are you looking for data that will justify you sitting around and doing nothing and just being a complaint monster? Or are you finding people that are out and doing something and energized and, respectfully growing flowers and cutting lawns and doing things and having the community stay together, and we're making a difference for kids and the churches are still full, and you're out doing things that absolutely make things work? Which way would you like to choose? You want to just be in your head and down, or you want to be out in the world making a difference and getting people happy? It's really up to you. So to keep the confusion from getting the best of it, you got to be aware of the effect that confusion has on you. Being confused is all about getting really straight around. Hang on a minute, my sign just fell down, and I'm not really confused about that, but it was a very interesting experience. I thought, wow, somebody didn't like what I said. So it's all about my background just fell down. So it's like, you got to be able to dance with whatever happens. You have to be unstoppable. So if you're the only person that has a say in how your life turns out, and no one can really ruin your day without your permission. So in other words, you can choose to be unstoppable. You can be your word or your purpose or not. It's up to you. You can even choose to learn from what confuses you. Wow, now there's a concept. What do you think? If you're going to be active in the world and you're going to be looking at being confused or not, I mean, wouldn't it be cool, wouldn't it be cool if you just did whatever you had to do to learn from whatever you got? If it works, keep doing it. If it doesn't work, stop doing it. Confusion gets you nowhere but stopped. All right? So you have to figure out what or who or what propositions you're going to vote for. You have to be really straight about what you're doing and what you're not going to do. You have to learn to say no. You have to learn to take care of yourself. You have to be clear. You have to ask for help. You got to be able to teach. And if you're my age, 65, you got to be able to hold people accountable. And guess what? You know what I found at my age? When you hold people accountable, especially elected officials, and you make the time to do so, man, it gives you your life back. And I don't mean be Guido or be short-sighted or be mean. It's just let people know. You want them to know that you're out here and you're listening. And by the way, if you don't do what you say you're going to do, I'm going to find you. I'm going to talk to you. And I'm going to hold you accountable. And just think, if the whole world had have done that over the last 3 or 4 years, what would this world be like? So come on, ladies and gentlemen, time to wake up, time to give up being confused, and let's go dance. So I got to take another break here. When you get back, I'm going to give you some ideas about how to have your life work and what to do in the next, this election that's coming up. So you're listening to Clay Nelson Life Balance Hour on KZSB AM 1290. Come on back, and I'll give you your life. I dare you.